Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin Bangin with Mikey, episode 155. And first things first, man, Merry Christmas Eve. Um, Holidays are always kind of weird for me, bro. Um, and I remember I spoke about this last year around the same time. It's just never the same without my dad, man. And I kind of reflect on the year. I take some time and I reflect on things and I try to see where I could have been better in many different facets. A better friend, you know, better brother, better son, etc., etc. It was a few times this year, but I got caught up in a few situations, and I'm like, yo, I could have treated them better than what I did, um, because they're not bad people. Um, just said the situations that we was in, those situationships that we was in, uh, made us become bad people, I should say. Bad people in terms of not being respectful and not hearing and I mean hearing but not listening. And it's overall, man. When you end up in situations that I was in, when you're dealing with emotions and it's purely physical, and there's nothing else to go off that except that, um, and you kind of get stuck in this weird gray area because you're like, okay, we're doing this, but you want this. You know what I mean? It's like it just didn't make any sense to me. It's like this one girl I was hooking up with. Towards the end of it, she wanted to know how many girls I was seeing, sleeping with, X, Y, and Z besides her. And I was like, okay, this is weird. It's like, why are you asking me this? And it didn't dawn on me at the time, because it didn't. It didn't dawn on me at the time, but she was catching feelings. Um, and that's the part where I didn't realize that until afterwards. Like, oh, so, oh, she was really literally out here catching feelings, and it was unfortunate that things happened the way it happened. But yeah, um, I take full responsibility in the situation for what I did. In terms of how I treated her, because she 100% deserved better from me. She deserved a better version of Mikey than what she got. Because I can understand why she fell for the dude she fell for. You know, she may never admit it, but it's the truth. It's you know, I am that dude who's always gonna be there to listen. I'm gonna be that dude who's gonna be there to give advice, etc., etc. But I'm also that dude who's gonna hold you accountable. And a lot of the times, the women that I end up dealing with, the first two, they love it. You know, the last one, they don't really like that. They don't really like that part of me because it's like, yo, it's like, 'cause I'm gonna tell people straight up, it's like the reason why you in the situations you in is because you allowed that shit to happen. Like you presented yourself in a certain way, and when you couldn't keep that energy, that's when shit got difficult. That's when shit got real, and that's when things went over. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't realize. No, I'm not saying like that you can't be sexually attracted to somebody, sexually aroused, whatever it is, because hey, you can. Another thing I noticed too, a lot of women don't like sensitive men or overly sensitive men. I was watching this clip from tonight's conversation, and and this one sister was talking about like how do you deal with a cat who's more sensitive than you? And then Trip, which that brother's always dropping gems, right? He's always dropping gems. He says like, yo, like basically in a roundabout way. I'm paraphrasing what he said. He said, if a man can't be soft around you, then how can he see himself in you? You know, it's like, and he was like, yo, it was like, you realize that we go out into this world, we fighting every day, this and this and that. We don't want to come on and fight with you, and it's true, 100%. I don't care if you black, brown, yellow, purple, white, whatever. You know, we all have them days where like, bro, we just need you to be here. You know, so just sit down and chill out and like, you know, like, you know, just watch TV with us. It's like just don't talk, right? And I think that's something that's a lot of people don't realize, man. It's like it takes a lot for us to be vulnerable because as men, we don't really know how to do that. We don't really know um how to be vulnerable, uh, how to realize that it's okay to be vulnerable. Um, and that's the topic of this podcast, man. It's vulnerability. It's like because I think the more men who are vulnerable, you know, just recently the other day, what's it? It's Sunday. On Friday there was a murder, murder suicide, right? Um, this one lady, she's around my age. Her estranged husband shot her in the head. You know, and 2 days prior to that, she was granted a TRO, and she was telling the judge that he has weapons, this and this and that, and apparently the judge did have him surrender the weapons or whatever it was, and this man was literally stalking her, and so she pulls up to this place to have breakfast with her moms, and she's with her daughter, and and the guy shoots his wife in front of his 10-year-old daughter in the head, and she was literally few hundred yards away from having breakfast with her moms, and he ended up committing suicide short time later, and everybody talked about therapy and going to therapy, this and this and that, and I was like, yeah, when you're dealing with things like that, when you're dealing with emotions like that, it's like that somebody who was never taught to be vulnerable. He doesn't know how to deal with his emotions. And going back to what Trip said, he's like, bro, he's like, go get you a man, And he said, Trip said, yeah, like how difficult, how draining it is for a man to be hard all the time. Like being a hard individual will kill you, literally. If you had your guard up 24/7 and you were hyper vigilant 24/7, you would die of a heart attack. You know, and I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize, man. It's like everybody wants these alpha males, these niggas that just like that want to be gangsters, the whole line, this and this and that. Like, nah, bruh. Being a gangster is like, nigga, that shit for the movies. That shit for the studio, for all you want to be gangsters, in the studio doing your thing, man. It's like, nah, you niggas ain't it. And and yeah, dog, is like, it's wild to me that all these motherfuckers out here want to be hard, want to be gangsters, this and this, and I was like, yo, the gangster shit you can do is take care of your girl to take care of your lady. The gangster shit you can do if you got kids, make sure your kids are straight. The gangster shit you can do is make sure that 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 everybody in your circle got a roof over their head. You know what I mean? That's some gangster shit. It's like running around and committing crimes and doing all this stupid shit and being hard all the goddamn time. It's like, no, it's like, nah, that ain't no gangster shit. That's a weak man shit. And if more people realize that, man, the better off they'll be. Me for one, some people call me overly sensitive, overly emotional, but like, yo, it's like, why do you think I end up in the situation I end up in? It's like women get attracted to me simply because they see me for who I am. Like, I'm that dude who's always gonna be there. I'm that dude who's always gonna give you advice. And in the process of giving you advice, it's like you gonna catch feelings. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It's not that I plan for it to be that way. It just happens because again, that's who I am. You know, like I'm gonna be that dude who's gonna be the okay, like you doing X, Y, and Z, but in reality, you should be doing this, or in reality, you should be doing that. You know, or I told this one person that I know, I said, yo, like the sooner you go through this, the sooner you can get it over with. You know, and and it's true. Instead of you tiptoeing around the situation, instead of you trying to be, you know, protective of other people's feelings. Sometimes, man, you just got to give them to them raw. You know, and if the outcome is the outcome, then it is what it is. You know, but I tell people all the time, man, it's like you're responsible 100% for your emotions 100% of the time. And if your happiness is external rather than internal, you're never gonna be happy. Um, so going back to vulnerability, man, it's difficult for us cats to be vulnerable because, like I said, a lot of us we were raised in, you know, a lot of us in our 30s. You know, we were raised in the 80s and 90s. Some of us in our 40s were definitely raised in the 80s, and so it's different dealing with people who when you grow up in different generations and you realize that like, oh, okay, like, you know, when you grow up in different generations and you realize it's like the shit that you learned, it may not have been 100% healthy. You know, it may not be 100% legal, because it's like some of us got our ass whooped pretty bad, you know. But then again, too, a lot of us, you know, it's like we're able to take those lessons and we're able to apply it in a different way. Um, Growing up, my my father, um, that man, whew, he was he was a lot, and he kind of spoke with his hands sometimes, right? You know what I mean? And but then again, that's how he grew up. And so with me, I have the ability to do the same thing, but I normally don't do that because there's no need for that. You know, in certain situations when I got to defend myself, yeah, whatever. But a lot of the times, man, it's like when I'm dealing with certain situations, I would literally ask a girl I'm seeing, a girl I'm sleeping with, whatever it is, be like, yo, okay, like how do we get this to be better? How do we overcome this situation? How do we communicate through this so we can, you know, patch this up? Like we ain't gotta be friends, you know. Like we ain't gotta be friends, but yo, at least be civil, at least be cordial with a nigga, right? And I think that's what the biggest thing, man, is like you ain't gotta be cool with everybody. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta do all that. But what you can do, what you should be able to do, is be able to understand your role in the situation and how you made them feel. Understand that because it's like just because you have a difference of an opinion or you have a view of how things went, how it went to them is 100% different. You know how it went to them is like yo, okay, like X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 boom. But yo, that's not how they view it. How do they view it? How, like, so we can sit here and and have a different dialect, a different conversation, and have a hopefully come to an understanding. Because like I said, we ain't gotta be cool, you know. We ain't gotta be brothers, and I ain't gotta tell you, hey, what's up, sis, what's popping, this and this and that. We ain't gotta do all that. But at the same time, what we can do, we can communicate like an adult, and we can communicate, you know, and be vulnerable and show our emotions and everything too. I think that's what a lot of people. And again, I don't mean to be bragging, but that's why I think a lot of women gravitate towards me because they see that. You know, they see that they understand where I'm coming from. And so to get back to what Trip was saying, he was like, yeah, he's like, yo, it's like Go get you a nigga that that's hard all the time and see how he deals with you. You know, go because everybody wants that hard up motherfucker. Everybody wants a hard dude. It's like yo, you realize that that's a defense mechanism. You realize that this individual is emotionally unavailable, unstable to a point. You realize all that? Because if you did realize all that, you wouldn't be wanting that. You would want the opposite of that. And I think what it boils down to is like everybody wants a representation of what they of of what they think they want. It's like how everybody calls themselves alpha. Nah, bro. Alpha to me is like you ain't gotta walk into a room and say all that shit. You ain't gotta be bravado. It's like you can walk into a room and not say nothing, and niggas gonna respect you. It's like I walk into certain rooms, nigga, I don't say nothing, but motherfuckers know that they know that I'm there. You know what I mean? It's like they know that I'm, my presence is felt in that room. I ain't gotta say much. After time, niggas forget that I'm there, and then oh shit, Mikey here. Yeah, what up? I ain't gotta say nothing, man. Niggas ain't gotta say nothing, man. It's like yo, I know where the fuck I'm at, bro. Or I can peep the energy in that room and still keep and still keep my energy the same. I stumbled across this video to wrap it up, and his brother was talking about he was saying his therapist said, "Yo, be a thermostat instead of a thermometer. Difference between a thermostat and a thermometer is that a thermometer takes your temperature. Thermostat maintains that temperature." And he was saying like, "Yo, instead of you bringing down your energy to meet somebody else's, it's like be a thermometer or be a thermostat and maintain your same energy because your energy that you maintaining can either bring up the energy in the room or bring down the energy in the room." And it made one habit, and it made sense. It made sense because it's like how many times have we been in a situation where we bringing down our energy to match somebody else? Who does that, right? And but I thought that was great because that's a great analogy, man. It's like be a thermostat instead of a thermometer. Yeah. And I think the more people with thermostats instead of thermometers, man, because you control your energy that comes in and what you proceed out, right? And I'm not saying that you got to be jovial, that you got to be happy all the goddamn time, because like they're gonna be days with me like, man, fuck this, man, whatever, man, like nigga, let's rock out, right? I mean, whatever, right? Because there are days I get to the gym and I'm like, I don't feel like talking to nobody, dog, at all. Like I've gone a few weeks without saying nothing to nobody. I go and get my workout and then leave. you know, or there are days where I can talk somebody's ear off just because I want to do that. Because I'm my own thermostat, bro. And it's like I'm never gonna bring down the energy in the room, but I'm always gonna maintain my energy because it's like, yo, it's like ain't nobody gonna have an influence over me except me. I don't care how bad this bitch is. I don't care how fat her ass is or whatever it is. I don't care how she look in yoga pants or I don't care how she look in Spanx or whatever it is. It don't matter. I don't care, if her tits are real, if her tits are fake, whatever it is. I don't care what her face look like. It don't matter. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't. What matters is you maintaining your energy and you being vulnerable in the situation that calls for it. A lot of motherfuckers don't want to be vulnerable in the situation, and it shows up. Men and women in general, it shows up in situations where you got to be vulnerable, and you don't know how to do that simply because you got a wall up. And once that wall is up, it's the other person. It's not their job to break it down, bro. It's like if you think a motherfucker who's talking to you, man or woman, is gonna break down that wall, simply because they want to. Like, no. It's not their job, bro. And and once you realize that, you know, that it's your job to become vulnerable, to become emotionally available, and do everything in your power to become a better version of you, bro. Imagine where you be at. It's not that hard to figure that out, man. And I think I wish more people would do that because, yeah, getting your feelings hurt, getting, you know, putting yourself out there, getting rejected, that sucks. But you know, at the end of the day, that's life, bro. You know, like you can't go through life and, you know, thinking, oh well, X, Y, and Z had happened to me before, so I can't have that shit happen again. It don't work that way, man. It never has, never will. All right, y'all. This is 21 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4 P's, private play, positive pushing. I'll see y'all next week. Actually, I'll see y'all next year. Yeah. Actually, no. I will see y'all New Year's. I will see you New Year's Eve. All right, man. Love y'all. Ghost. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace. And have a Merry Christmas.